Oh, I'm starting this video tonight because I'm going to be making a loaf of sourdough bread. And you have to start out, and this is what I'm doing. This is my starter. It's been in the fridge in this, and it's my starter. I'm going to dump all the starter into the bowl. Then what you do is you add just a little bit of flour, maybe, I don't know, a half a cup, and filtered water, and you mix this up. Just like so. And this is going to sit out all night tonight. And all I do is I put a plate over it. Because you want air to be able to get into it. I just put a plate over it, and I'm going to stick it over on my stove. And then the starter that's left in your container, you add a little bit more flour to it and a little more water. And you know what? If you stir it with a butter knife, it's the best because then you don't have as much of a mess. You just, and the remnants in your little starter for your sourdough are what's going to make your next batch of sourdough. And you do this like, see, and watch. With the knife, it cleans right up. And it's not so hard to get off the spoon. And then I put the lid on it, and I put it right back in the fridge. And that will be my next loaf of sourdough bread. But I will see you in the morning, and I will show you how my starter is all bubbled up. And I will show you tomorrow how to make sourdough bread. It's a long process, but it's a lot of fun. And I watched a lot of videos to learn my own simplified way. So I'll see you tomorrow. So this is breakfast, lunch, and dinner cooking. This is the next morning. And I'm going to show you my beautiful, bubbly, look at that. Look at the nice bubbles in that. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, anyway. Then what you want to do is 4 cups of flour. Using that organic flour I found from Walmart again, and a tablespoon. When you're in Florida, I found if you just put a baggie on the bottom of your salt, it won't get hard on you. You want to put a tablespoon of salt, and I use the plain salt. That's what they say. They say the sourdough does not like the iodized. I've used the iodized and it was fine. And then you use shaky sail here. Then you use a cup and a quarter of water. Then mix it all up. So 4 cups of flour, a tablespoon of plain salt that you can find at Walmart too. I'm not promoting Walmart, but that's where I get my stuff. And what you want to do is just mix it in. I mix it initially with the spoon. And then I always wet my hand so it doesn't stick to me. into a that's it for right now. I'm going to set the timer for 30 minutes and I'll be back with you. Hey, it's been 30 minutes and I'm going to wet my hand. And this is your first stretch and pull. I'm going to pull it up and over. It breaks at first. But what you're doing is you're pulling the yeast out of the air to help your sourdough. You know, get that air in there. And that's it. And I wanted to tell, and then you wait, you set the timer for another 30 minutes. You do 3 of these stretch and folds. But I wanted to tell you that the sourdough starter that's in my fridge that I showed you earlier, what you want to do, I started this about 2 years ago, and all it is flour and water. And depending on the size of your family, like if you're going to be cooking a lot, you could do more. But you take the flour and the water and you put it in a mason jar, like a half a cup of flour and a half a cup of water, and just let it set out. And then every day you could put like a heaping tablespoon and a little more water. And always use a knife because this stuff is like glue. When it's in your sink or anything, you want to make sure it's cleaned up because it's like paper mache. Anyway, once you start with the starter, back to the starter, you want to leave it on your counter for, I bet you, 10 to 12 days, feeding it every day. And you'll see when it starts to get really nice and bubbly, that's when you know your starter is ready to go in the fridge. Or, like I did, I took it out last night. You saw what I did, and you wake up to this wonderful smell of this yeasty sourdough. And this is no yeast, this is just your starter. So it's going back in the fridge, and I'll see you in 30 minutes. Okay, it's been 30 more minutes. I'm going to do my second stretch and fold. I'm going to wet my hands again. And you'll notice that it's stretching better. It's not breaking. That's it. That's my second stretch and fold. Put the plate back on it, and I'll see you in 30 more minutes. Okay, it's been another 30 minutes, and this is the last stretch and fold. Get all that yeast pulled out of the air. Okay, now I'm going to let this rest for 2 hours, and then I'll show you what to do. 2 hours of letting this rest. And this is what I do. I've got a 5-quart cast iron Dutch oven here. And what I do is I take a large piece of parchment paper, and I put it in there like so. Because you want it big enough that you can grab the bread out after. And then what I do is I sprinkle some flour in the bottom, and then I take this already partially raised bread, and I dip my hands in this flour, and I keep gently trying to get it into a ball. you don't want to, I keep patting my hands in the flour. You don't want to roll it in flour because I've done that before and it's had chunks of flour on the inside. So I just keep patting my hand in the flour, get it loose from the bowl. Then what I do, after it's released, I keep patting my hands in the flour and I just stretch it gently. You don't want to burst all the bubbles in it. And I just stretch it into a nice ball. I set it in there and I put the lid on it and I wait until it raises to be about 2/3 of the pan. Hello, it is 8:54 at night. I started this at 10:30 this morning. So you gotta be patient. Now what I'm gonna do, you take a little flour in your hand. You don't want to throw it on. You want to flake it on like so. And you don't want to rub it. And then you want to cut it. If you have a razor blade, that works better. And with these, you never know what you're going to get. It's a new baby every time. So now I'm going to turn the oven on to 500. And you take it and you put it in a cold oven. And you set the timer. You set the timer for 40 minutes. And I will see you in 40 minutes. Okay, I'm going to take this out of the oven. You take the lid off. And then you put it back in the oven for, I'm going to put it back in for 15 minutes. And I'll check it at like 10. If you could smell this bread. Anyway, I'll be back in 15. It's coming out of the oven. And this was for 15 minutes. And this is what I do. So I pull it out by the paper. You always want to set your pan on a hot pad, I believe, because this is a glass top especially. And look at this gorgeous, gorgeous bread. If that doesn't look like artisan sourdough, and I'm going to bring you over here with me. Normally you want to let your sourdough rest for probably an hour. But since I'm doing a video here, you guys want to see it, I'm going to go ahead and cut it. Normally what I do is I cut it in half and then I cut it that way. But I don't want to do that right now because I don't want to let all the steam out. But hear that crunch? You do want to wait an hour normally because sourdough needs to settle. But I want to show you this beautiful, beautiful bread. Look at that. Is that beautiful or what? And I'm probably going to have a piece. I'm probably going to have to eat it. Anyway, God bless you. Thanks for watching my sourdough, easy sourdough. It takes a long time, but it's so worth it. And this is my 6th video. And God bless you and love the Lord with all your heart. Bye-bye.